Welcome to Geek Club. In this short video, we're going to talk about a type of verbal reasoning question known as opposite meanings. Let's have a read of this example. For each of the following sets of words, find two words, one from each group, that are opposite in meaning. If you've been following these videos in order, you'll see that this is very similar to another question type where we need to find two words that are similar in meaning. But here we're looking for antonyms. So it's important to read the question and do what you're asked to do. But the process is the same. We need to compare each pair of words across the two sets of brackets. So there'll be 9 comparisons. So we're going to look for two words that are the opposite in meaning. So let's do that. Aid and hinder. Well, aid means help and hinder means not help. So those two are the opposite. So let's make a note of aid and hinder because they could be our two words that are the correct answers. But let's just check the other ones just in case. So aid and first. Well, first aid is a thing, but aid and first don't mean the opposite. Aid and help. Well, they mean the same thing, but the question's asking for opposites. But clearly they're trying to trick us. Let's try medicine and hinder. No, they're not really the opposite. Medicine and first? Nope. Medicine and help? Nope. How about third and hinder? No, they're not the opposite. Third and first? Well, they're both numbers, but they're not the opposite. And finally, third and help? Nope. So aid and hinder are the only pair of words that are definitely the opposite. So they must be the correct answers. As the previous question type, which was similar, we need to be aware that the examiners might try and put homophones in or homographs in. So they might put in words that sound similar when you say them, but they actually mean something totally different. So don't be caught out by that. And like in this example, they might also try and put synonyms in, like aid and help. And if you haven't read the question and you're assuming they're looking for two words that are the same, you might accidentally write those as the correct answer. So make sure you read the question. Here are 3 examples. Pause the video now, try these yourself, and then we'll go through the answers together. Okay, let's look at question 1. So in the first set of words, we have bank, poverty, and money. And the second set of words, we have destitute, poor, and wealth. If you don't know what any of these words means, please do look them up. Destitute does mean poor. So let's compare all the sets of words. So we've got bank and destitute, so bank and poor. No, they don't mean the same thing. Bank and poor, bank and wealth. Well, they don't mean the opposite. Poverty and destitute. Well, they're sort of along similar lines. They're definitely not the opposite. Poverty and poor. Nope. Poverty and wealth. Poverty and wealth are opposite in meaning. So let's make a note of that. But let's just check the other pairs. Money and destitute. No. Money and poor. Well, no, if you're rich, you do have money, but it doesn't actually mean the opposite as poor. And money and wealth. No, they don't mean the opposite. So poverty and wealth would be the correct answer here. Let's try number 2. Never and legendary. Well, they're not similar at all. Never and seldom. So seldom means something that doesn't happen much. So never and seldom are sort of pretty similar. They're certainly not opposite. Never and table. No, they're not the opposite. Rare and legendary. No. Rare and seldom. No, they mean similar things. And rare and table, well, they're totally different. Frequent, so that means something that happens a lot. And legendary, no, they don't mean opposite things. Frequent and seldom, well, we've just said that seldom means not very often. So actually that does mean the opposite is frequent. And frequent and table, no, they're just different words. So frequent and seldom here would be the two words that are opposite in meaning. Let's do the same as number 3. Generous and flippant, they're not the opposite. Generous and stingy, well, they do mean the opposite. So let's make a note of that. Generous and vapid. Well, I'm just going to pretend that I don't know what the word vapid means. So let's just put a question mark by that. If there are two words that are definitely the opposite, then it doesn't matter if we don't know what vapid means. Okay. Amicable and flippant. So if you're amicable, you're friendly. Flippant, no, that doesn't mean the opposite. Amicable and stingy. Well, friendly and stingy, they're sort of the opposite, but generous is much better. Amicable and vapid, well, we've decided we don't know what vapid means, so we'll ignore that. Affluent and flippant. So again, if you don't know what affluent means, we'll have to put a question mark by it. Affluent means you're well off or rich. Affluent and stingy, affluent and vapid. So if we're assuming we don't know what this word means either, well, we have to ignore it. But in this case, it doesn't matter because we have found a pair of words that are opposite in meaning, generous and stingy. So we will put those down. And as it happens, that is the correct answer. So that's it for this video. Remember, when you get an opposite meaning question type, try and compare each pair of words across the two sets of brackets. So there are 9 comparisons. Don't worry if you don't know what one of the words means. Okay, if you have to ignore it, then ignore it. If you do then find 2 words that are opposite in meaning, then mark those down as your answers. But if you don't, then it could be that the word that you didn't know the meaning of is the right answer. So then do make a guess and make your guess include that word you didn't know. And remember just to be wary of homophones or synonyms, words that mean the same thing, because the examiners do try and trick you out. As normal, if you'd like to try some practice questions, you can download them from the website www.geekclubkids.co.uk. Bye.